With a managerial career spanning 25 years, Jose Mourinho has a proven track record of winning. He's coached at some of the world's biggest clubs, but with his divisive personality, how many would welcome him back with open arms? Let's take a look into one of the most unique figures in world football. Hello and welcome to Football Now, here from the Al Bayt Stadium in Qatar. One of the things that makes football great are the unique personalities that you simply won't find anywhere else. In the 21st century, one figure who's certainly risen to prominence is Jose Mourinho. From his touchline antics to announcing himself as the Special One, he's been making international headlines all throughout his career. After a brief and uneventful playing career in the 1980s, Jose turned to coaching in his hometown of Setúbal. He went on to be part of the backroom coaching staff at Barcelona, and by 2002 was the head coach of Portuguese giant Porto, where he sent shockwaves around Europe by leading them to a Champions League title 2 years later.
During his playing days, of course, people who were around him noticed that he had the potential to become a manager. Of course, the people had to wait until he got started. And I think the first moment in Portugal that people realized, okay, maybe we have a coach here who can become a world-class coach, get to the next level, was in his hometown of Setúbal, where he's coaching Vitória, and he was doing a great job there, taking players to the next level. Mourinho had this talent, like to get a player who was unknown for most of the people and take him to the next level, and that's what he did at Vitória. And then he got to Porto, when Porto invited him to coach them. They made him better players. That was made him unique early in his career, of course, before he started getting so many trophies.
In the time since, he's won 18 major trophies with the likes of Chelsea, Inter Milan and Real Madrid. But he's not only become synonymous with picking up silverware, he's also got a track record of provoking opposition fans, as well as falling out with players and club hierarchy.
There's a word here in Portugal that people say a lot, especially when people talk about coaches. Many Portuguese are like this. It's part of the personality. Of course, you can speak for every single Portuguese, but most of them are like this. This word is frontal. So it pretty much means like you being straightforward. You say whatever you have to say. And Mourinho has always been like this. So of course, the Mourinho you see in a press conference in front of the cameras is the Mourinho you have behind the cameras, so he's no different. Of course, people speak a lot about mind games, perhaps Mourinho being like the best strategist in this history of football, but that's part of his personality. Of course, he does that because he thinks that benefits his sides, but that's part of who Mourinho is as well.
So, what is it about Mourinho's way of working that makes the relationships with those around him so fragile?
I think the problem with Jose Mourinho is that there is a big ego there. If you're coming up against other big egos, there is going to be a clash and there is going to be a battle. I think, for example, when you have Real Madrid, he was once giving instructions when it came to the defensive positions of players in defending the corner. And Sergio Ramos was irritated because they didn't follow those instructions. They instead went to do what they thought was best. And Mourinho then had a go at them. And Ramos would turn around and say, well, how do you know? You never played at this level. And I think that's one of the problems that happened with Jose Mourinho when he went to these bigger teams that had much bigger egos, especially when they want to enjoy their football.
The style of play associated with Mourinho's teams over the years has been defensive, stubborn and difficult to score against. The problem is this philosophy is now out of style, with attacking, free-flowing football now the current trend. As a result, Mourinho has fallen out of favour with Premier League teams. He currently holds the position of head coach of Fenerbahce in Turkey, but he hasn't coached in England for nearly 4 years and was recently overlooked for a job at Everton. Despite clearly having a great career, has the game evolved past the style of play that Mourinho is known for?
I'd be interested to see who takes a punt, because if I'm honest, I don't think he also gets credit he deserves tactically. I honestly think it's a personality shift. I actually think it's more of a reflection of what the world's kind of turning, in that I do think people tend to be a bit more soft or they can't take maybe criticism to the same degree. Mourinho would hammer these players if needed. I think lots of managers were like that in the past, and I do think there's probably a softer approach needed with a lot of players these days. And I think that's why even more recently, maybe the last 10 years, he's had even less success in terms of United, Spurs, Roma and Fenerbahce. I think that's more of a personality shift, and he hasn't managed to evolve with football in that sense. But I'd love to see him in the Premier League again. I think everyone would. Like, everyone's tuning in for a Jose box office press moment, and that's what he's become as well. He's almost become celebrity rather than manager, which he probably isn't a big fan of, but at the same time, he leans into it so much that I kind of think you must be a fan of doing that as well. Like, I feel like it's all intentional, isn't it? So yeah, I don't know who takes a punt on him, but I'm sure someone will.
Fans either love him or hate him, don't they? Jose Mourinho's career has certainly been fascinating to watch over the last 25 years. The question is, do you still think he's the special one? Let us know using the hashtag FootballNowMourinho. That's all we've got time for though here this week. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.